North Dakota today. Chad Lyer is joining me from Aero Service Team. And Chad, today we're going to talk about some myths. Some myths that go along with fire damage in a person's home.
We will.
Okay, now I would imagine that between water damage and fire damage, those are the top two things that you guys at Aero Service deal with, correct?
I would agree with that, yes.
Okay, today we're going to concentrate on the fire side of it. We'll get into the water damage on a later episode. But let's talk about one of the myths here, and that is that if the home isn't destroyed or if there are still parts of the home that are livable or usable, people think they can stay in the home. And there are some reasons why that's not a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in a house or a building after a fire, there's a lot of things going on. You're in there could be water, you know, they had to put that fire out somehow. So you can be dealing with some water damage. You can be dealing with, you know, fire damage, broken windows, glass, debris. Probably the biggest thing that I fear is dealing with contamination. You know, in today's buildings, there's a lot of things that burn that are not very healthy.
Right.
We've all seen a chemical fire. I think there was a train that burnt the other day again.
Yes, yes. So there's several reasons why it's not a good idea, even things that don't meet the eye.
Oh yeah, there's definitely things that don't meet the eye. That's why, you know, sometimes it's best to get someone in there and do that ventilation, some of those things, just to keep not only workers safe, but the occupants.
When you guys enter a home that has fire damage, and I know it depends on the severity of what's gone on and things like that, but what is one of the first things that you do? You go in and assess. What do you guys try to do right away to try and mitigate the situation?
If we're called into a situation, we're going to go, and the first thing is we're going to empathize with the owners of the building and figure out exactly what their needs are, because everyone's needs are completely different.
Sure. You're saying some people need a place to stay. Some people will need various other things. Like, what are some examples?
Someone might have a hockey tournament on Friday and they no longer have their skates or their pads or a car to drive them to Minot.
Okay, so what do you guys do? You just line them up with who they need to be in contact with?
We work with a lot of different people, you know, and on a lot of the times we work with insurance companies and try to get, you know, some money rolling to get things moving forward. But the rule of mind is generally do what you do if you didn't have insurance, you know, follow common sense.
Okay, what's the first call they should make if there's I mean, obviously 911, get the fire put out, but after that, what?
Well, I think a lot of times what I recommend is if you can handle it yourself, take care of it. If you think you want to get help, get that help there, have them make an assessment before you call your insurance company. Okay. Because sometimes, you know, there's different things that can trigger different responses.
Okay. People, I think, probably have the misnomer that restoration and things like that are going to take a very, very long time. Some people say, boy, we'll never get back in our house, but that's not necessarily the case.
Well, it's not the case. You know, some things can be turned around really quick. We've done fires in a school where we cleaned the entire school in 3 days. Wow. But at the same time, there's a lot of labor there. And probably the biggest hang up with us at Aero now, and I think just about every contractor in North America, is supply chain issues. Sure. And, you know, those projects that used to be 3 to 4 months, they're probably more like the 5 to 7, 8 months, just depending on, you know, what type of materials and things. You know, we're kind of in part of our showroom area today at our shop. And a lot of these things, I mean, we used to order flooring and it was here in 2-3 days. Now it's 2-3 weeks, 2-3 months, or order it and then 2 months later they say sorry, you know.
Yeah, well, you've got some stuff here to demonstrate and to talk about what, as far as materials.
Well, yeah, because a lot of the problems, it's easy in restoration to deal with like the directly burned things, but the trick with fire is getting that smoke odor taken care of. I'll hear it all the time. Is like, you're never going to get that odor out of the house. And my dad always said, if there's a house I worked on and we don't have the odor out, let me know where it's at and I'll come and fix it.
Because it's probably never happened. I mean, you guys have been able to tackle it all the time, is what you're saying.
That's the idea behind it, yes. And, you know, one of my staff members kind of laid this stuff out, and it's just when you have like a fire project, there's just things that can be cleaned and things that need to be sealed and kind of along those lines, you understand? Sure. Like this piece of wood, has got a finish on it. You know, it's going to clean much easier on this surface than when you turn it and there's an open particle board where things can penetrate much deeper. You know, and that's where this is dirty, so we're going to show, like, you know, this can be cleaned. This would probably need to be cleaned and then sealed if you were to, you know, keep it in a...
Right, because it's going to absorb.
Yeah, or it needs to be replaced. And that's where it's nice with like a professional is, you know, they know that cutoff point of where it makes sense to clean something, revive it, or replace it.
Right. There's a line there that it can't be salvaged, and you guys will be able to explain that.
Yeah, and just with experience that we've been doing this for 40 some years, almost 44 now, you know, you don't even think about it anymore, where the normal person, they don't know where to start.
Well, they haven't been through it. Hopefully, this is the first time through it, and you don't want to gain experience in something like that.
No, and then it's just, and it goes all the way from materials to what's in the pantry, you know?
Sure.
Can we save any of this food, you know? Are any of these clothes worth cleaning, or should we just replace everything?
Well, and that's the thing. You know, a lot of people want to be they're do-it-yourself type people, and they think, well, this is something that I can take care of myself. But there are so many levels that need to be thought through and taken care of. That's why a professional needs to be contacted.
Well, that's the idea behind it. I mean, you can take care of it, but something that we try to pitch to people is, you know, you've got a lot going on in life already. You know, you have a full-time job, you have other things that you like to do, and then on top of that, are you really going to worry about repairing your house because now you already have to go and get all these other things you didn't have planned on, like emergency shopping and finding a place to stay and, you know, things like that, changing all your direct pays or whatever, anything along the line, you lose your phone, you know, things you don't realize.
Without question, because a lot of people have, myself included, much of their life is recorded in their phone, and if that happens to burn and is all of a sudden lost to you, you've lost a lot of information.
Yeah, it's just things that you don't realize
Yes.
until you're actually in those situations.
Okay, one of the things I think that people think that a lot of times that a fire in a home will start through the electrical system or something like that. That's not necessarily true.
No, I can tell you firsthand that a majority of fires in residential homes start in the kitchen.
Something on the stove or something in the oven, or is it a combination of things, or what's the most common?
I think it's probably more on the stovetop during the day, and in the evening it's the late night cooks.
Ah, yes, probably, yeah. We've all been there. Okay, let me ask you this, and we're down to about a minute. How important is it, since most fires start in the kitchen, to have a fire extinguisher handy there?
Well, I told you about a year ago I had a little situation and I didn't have a fire extinguisher, and so after that I learned my lesson.
Right.
And yeah, it's very important to have a fire extinguisher. And if you have a fire extinguisher, know your limits, do some training on it. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube that teach you how to use it, because if you have a fire extinguisher and you don't know how to use it, you're probably not going to do it right, and it's not going to work.
What's the point?
Yes.
Exactly. All right, Aero Service Team, you guys can answer tons of questions no matter what kind of a situation, whether it be a fire or water or whatever it is. You guys are the experts to call. How do we get a hold of Aero Service Team?
You can go to our website at aeroserviceteam.com. We're on Facebook. We're in Bismarck, and we now have a location in Dickinson. And you can always give us a call at 701-223-9249.
Chad Lyer, Aero Service Team, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right, break time. We're back. We've got more coming up on North Dakota Today in a moment.